AMIA put together a task force. Why should AMIA be the one to be in a leadership role position to do such a thing?
AMIA is seen in the industry as a trusted broker when it comes to these sorts of things. AMIA's axe to grind is about patient safety and innovation. So it makes sense for an AMIA task force to take a leadership role in identifying some of the ethical and policy issues related to vendor interactions with hospitals and other healthcare organizations.
What was the task force charged with?
So the task force was created after a report that suggested that the manufacturers of systems for managing health information in hospitals and practices were imposing certain contract terms on hospitals, for example. They included a number of noteworthy issues that some people found to be quite controversial, and frankly should find to be controversial. One of them were hold harmless clauses that basically indemnified the vendors if anything went wrong. The other was related to disclosure of errors and bugs and that sort of thing. The vendors were keen to make sure that the reports went straight to them as opposed to being shared in an uncontrolled way in institutions.
What were the recommendations of the task force?
So the recommendations can fall under several headings. One of them is educational. Task force members were of the view that when you do ethics, for example, it's not about smiting evildoers or waving your arms about philosophers. It's about how reasonable people analyze difficult cases in which values are at stake. Patient safety is a value. Same way the privacy is a value, right? So one of the recommendations was we need to make sure that there's more education of the sort that's become quite common for all industry. The world of business has discovered that ethics education is good. Academia has discovered that ethics education is something that improves the quality of the student experience. And the government, frankly, has said if you're getting our money, we want to make sure you're learning about the responsible conduct of research. If your hospital's being accredited, there needs to be an ethics process. So we were of the view that the health information technology community should not be exempt from that, that we want to be at the same table. The standards have evolved, and we want to make sure that the HIT community is participating in those kinds of activities.
Can you give us another recommendation?
Another was that there needs to be greater attention and some sort of systematic look at best practices when it comes to certain issues with an ethics component. So, for example, what should contracts between vendors and hospitals, for instance, incorporate? What are appropriate contract provisions to promote both innovation and patient safety? Reasonable people disagree about this, and that's why among the recommendations is that the HIT community, perhaps led by AMIA, but in any case, the HIT community needs to be, with a great more focus it has so far, has to be taking a stance that says we want to look at these issues more frequently, identifying best practices that have an ethics component to them.